And we are back in the build phase. I'm Mr. Ben. Today, we are going to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier card reveals. I think I have two spoiler articles that I have been trying super hard to avoid so I can read the cards in real time and react to them in real time. Now, normally, I've fallen into the habit of always doing these as videos rather than as part of the podcast. So it's been a long time since I've done like a true spoiler review on the show. And that to me seems like good enough reason to get back to my roots and do some audio spoilers. So let's dive right into this. Now, this article was originally posted on October 26th. It is currently November 9th, so I am a bit behind on these, but it's been busy around the build phase headquarters lately. So this is going to be the second expansion coming out in the Disney Plus arc. WandaVision is actually sitting on my desk right here, finally. And this, I believe, would have been the scheduled March release for 2022. And we're getting it hopefully soon. I don't think we have an actual date. Let me scroll down to the bottom of this article. It just says soon. Yeah, it doesn't give us any specific information. So I'm not sure when we're going to have this in hand, but it's really nice to start to see the flow of spoilers returning to the land of verses. Thank goodness. So, wow. Well, now this is one of the drawbacks to doing this in audio format, because immediately I want to be able to refer to the visual elements of these cards. So, as we're all aware, the Marvel cards have, for whatever reason, an agreement where they put whatever the logo of the property is on the card art. Now, this is not very good looking in any circumstance. Like when it says Captain America across the bottom of the card, or across the bottom of the card art, that never really looks good. But what most of the other logos being plastered on top of our card art have had going for them is that they were not entire sentences. And right away, the first thing I notice is the Marvel Studios, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier logo goes from the bottom of the art panel almost all the way up to the shoulders of the character pictured in the art panel. This is aggressively more ugly than any of the other Marvel Studios logos being plastered over the card art has ever been before. I'm having a hard time even looking past it. Wow. The art itself for both Winter Soldier and I guess Winter Soldier Level 2 looks fine. They chose, it's not the most dynamic versions of the character, the most dynamic depiction, but that can be okay too. He looks cool, he looks threatening. What of him I can see past the gigantic logo. Let's move on to the card text. So we're going to start with a level 1 Winter Soldier. He is a 3/4/6 with range and has stealth. Wow, a main character with stealth. That feels like it could be really annoying really fast. When the Winter Soldier stuns a protected defender, he gains 1 XP. That's terrible. Your opponent's going to have a really easy time denying you XP. They may never give you any XP for the whole game. Depending upon who you're playing against, there may be characters that have to go in the back row. But if I'm playing against this guy, and I've got some kind of like glass-jawed support character that normally I try to hide in the back row, unless you've got a Herbie or a Danger or something else, actually I don't think Danger would necessarily even work, but unless you've got something else that can force your opponent to not be able to attack that, like Herbie sitting there in the back row with him. He's got to go through Herbie first. Maybe he doesn't have multiple attackers that can get past the front row. But that's a lot of work we're doing just to get this guy his 1 XP. Now, he does only need 1 XP. So I think what you're going to have to do if you want to level this guy up is put some of the cards in your deck that let you push people to the back row or mess with your opponent's formation. I think Whiplash pulls somebody to the front, don't they? I don't immediately remember in Photographic Universe what options are available to push people to the back row, but if you want to level this guy up, I do not think you can rely on the charity of your opponent. Now that I've zoomed in on the card, in the card viewer, the art looks even cooler. I like how Winter Soldier looks intimidating and angry. The logo is more obnoxious, though. Okay, moving past that, giving him stealth is great. Giving him only 3 attack means he can't stun a Herbie, and I think that might be a problem. Surely Photographic has ways to, like Grandmaster, or Thought You'd Be Glad to See Me, they have ways to make his attack bigger. But yeah, that's. Ugh. So, oh wait, there's going to be a level 3? Do we get the level 3? No, we don't get the level 3. You got to stop doing this to me, Reveal Team. Who wrote this article? Does it say? Richard, I'm mad at you. Give me the level 3, bro. Okay. Winter Soldier, level 2. He is a 5.7.6 with range and sniper. Now, sniper is essentially stealth, except you get to do it from the back row, which is very cool. Again, oh, they did that thing that I like. His level 1 experience condition is called up close, and his level 2 experience condition is and personal. I like when they give us like sentences across cards. It makes the card feel more like you're telling a story through the level up, which is kind of what's happening here. This is his level 2 level up is just as problematic as his level 1 level up. If your opponent is not going to put characters in the back row, you just never level. So depending upon what options are available in Photographic to push people into the back row, to let you feed yourself that experience, that's going to depend whether you ever see this guy's level 2 or his level 3. That's just all there is to that. 5.7.6 with Sniper is totally decent. The Stealth, the Sniper, those are good powers. The stat blocks are fine. 3-4 isn't the craziest stat block we've seen on a level 1, but it's passable. It's not a negative on the card. It doesn't detract from the card. Really the only criticism I have for either this level 1 or level 2 is he ever going to level up? Is your opponent ever going to let you level up? And if your opponent isn't going to help you level up, does he level up at all? I don't have good answers to those, especially not knowing what the payoff is. And that reminds me, I'm probably not going to see the payoff until they actually put the cards out. We didn't see level 3 one. Oh, well, there's another article. We'll see. Maybe we get level 3 next week or whatever. So Bucky is Steve's oldest friends, but his stolen past as the Winter Soldier haunts him. With some help from those around him, he'll be able to take hold of his future and make amends. Why is make amends in bold? Does he make amends? Oh, it's because his character has make amends powers. Okay, so moving on to a Bucky supporting character. Now, here's something I love. I love when the art on the supporting character is not the same as the art on the main character. Give us more art. Always. Even like kind of lame screenshots with gigantic logos pasted on top of them. Seeing different ones makes me happy. So I'm cool with the fact that they not only chose different art for the supporting character, but they chose some art where Bucky's got Cap's shield. I like that a great deal. So he has AKA Winter Soldier. That makes sense. He's a 5.9.2 with range. That's okay for turn 6. 5 feels a little weak, but range kind of makes up for it. And 9 is a decent butt on turn 6. 2 health, I like. Moving on to his powers. Rule number 1, nothing illegal. Bucky can team attack with any characters in his row. That I love. I wish there was more get around the team up type or get around the team affiliation type of team attacking in this game. We've got Strucker, Star-Lord, and Ironheart, I think, and now and characters with Mercenary, I guess. So this is a little bit more in the bucket of like Mercenary, where a supporting character is allowed to attack with a main character no matter what their affiliation is. It's more like that than it is like Strucker or Star-Lord, which are characters that allow you to give all your supporting characters the same team affiliation. So that's a decent power. The mileage you're gonna get out of it is gonna vary kind of widely, and it's gonna vary based on things like what other supporting characters you have in your deck. Rule number 2, nobody gets hurt. Bucky has lethal while team attacking. Okay. Interesting. So if you're gonna run this 6-drop, you want to make sure he has people to team attack with in order to get any value at all out of rule number 2. Rule number 3, make amends. When Bucky KOs an enemy defender, draw a card for each attacker in the combat. Whoa! Whoa! Holy smokes. Alright, so this card is absolutely going to end up being like the top end for a very aggressive flood style deck. You're going to want to, on turns 1 through 5, be underdropping characters. You want to make sure you play this guy onto a board with a bunch of dudes. And then you take all those dudes and you team attack into your opponent's best thing, their biggest thing, and you kill it and you draw a bunch of cards. That's awesome. That's really, really good. By himself, not going to be a great card. Fine stats, But once you stack his three rules together and you actually get to build yourself a removal tool and a card draw tool, that's awesome. I'm all in on this guy. I think this 6-drop is gonna see play. Next up, we have a slideshow that doesn't seem to want to load. Okay, Baron Zemo. Oh. Well, I'm glad they chose Baron Zemo art where he has his mask on, but this is pretty boring. Okay, so he's a 4-cost villain affiliated, 3/3/1 with range. None of that is very good. He's aka Helmet Zemo, and he has the power Royal Wealth. At the start of your build phase, gain 2 recruit points, and Master Tactician. You can discard any card to power up Zemo. Well, that's kind of interesting. That's a ramp tool. You're not going to be able to use it until turn 5 at the earliest, and it'll let you skip from 5 and play a 7-drop. You do have the ability to turn every card in your hand into a very weak plot twist to give him a +1. How many of those +1 counters are you going to need to put on him to keep him alive as a 3/3 on turn 4? I'm not sure. I'm a little bit more lukewarm about this guy. Bucky looked amazing. Winter Soldier, I can kind of see... I mean, 2 extra recruit points is always going to be good. The question is, can you keep him around for a whole turn, especially when you're taking one of your mid-game turns to put this guy into play? That's almost like taking a turn off, because this guy is not going to be doing anything proactive on the board. So, I'm a little lukewarm on that one. Next up, we have the Super Soldier Serum. So this is a 1-cost equipment, and the card art on this card is not even in focus. That is weird. Some real highs and lows on the card art in this first set of card reveals. Subtle, Optimized, Perfect, equipped only to a supporting character. That's a mouthful of a keyword. Sorry, there's more to it. Equip only to a supporting character. Equipped character loses and can't gain powers other than from this card. This doesn't get KO'd when the character is stunned. So this works exactly the same as a collar, an inhibitor collar from the Sentinel team in Illustrated Universe. Biotech Force Enhancement. Equipped soldier has Super Soldier Serum, which gives them Combat Master, Regeneration, and Tough. Okay, so Combat Master lets you turn off the ability of your opponent to play Plot Twist during combat. Regeneration, I believe you heal a wound when you're face up at the start of your turn, like before the recovery step. And Tough allows you to flip face up after you've been stunned. So Regeneration and Tough are going to work together to basically let you peel wounds off. Your opponent attacks, put a wound on, you stay face up, and it goes away. That's pretty strong. Combat Master feeds into you being able to declare attacks and not have them messed with by any kind of plot twist. Wow, this... it is limited to supporting characters, and I kind of understand why, given what it does. Can it be knocked off? Yeah, so if your opponent has... like black oil might be the only photographic option, or if you're playing somebody with an illustrated deck, inhibitor collars. So your opponent could potentially pick this off of your character by equipping something else to them, but overall, for 1 recruit point, I feel like that gives your character a lot of stuff, and the fact that it doesn't get knocked off when that character gets KO'd, you could potentially get a lot more mileage out of this than many other equipment. I feel like this equipment's good. It does require you play Marvel-affiliated characters in your deck, but despite the fact that photographic appears to be where non-Marvel IPs come out to play, we still are in photographic dominated by Marvel-related cards. So I think satisfying that recruit requirement is not going to be that hard. Overall, to go back through these, the Winter Soldier level 1 and 2 has some things that I do like about them, but I worry that they will have a hard time leveling up. The 6-cost Bucky Barnes is 2 massive thumbs up. I really like that card. Baron Zemo, I'm skeptical that I think he's going to be too slow. Even with his Master Tactician to let you beef up his stats, I think he's going to end up being too slow, and you're almost never going to see those 2 extra recruit points. I could be wrong. Super Soldier Serum, I feel like that's a very strong card as well. So overall, this is a very, very strong opening blast of card spoiler cards for the Falcon and Winter Soldier expansion. Next, we have some more Falcon and Winter Soldier cards. Tarnishing the Shield. This was posted on November 2nd. Okay, so let's look at Star Captain America. Okay, now this is where the mantle system starts to fall apart and look a little silly. Like we're getting multiple mantles for Captain America. And I get it. As a character, that mantle has been handed around a lot, but just looking at the card with double stars on either side of the card title feels a little corny. What does the guy do though? So he's a level 1 hero affiliated 4/3/5. I do not like that 5 hit points. Partner up. Build. Pay a red. Put a hero supporting character with cost 1 or 2 from your hand onto your side as Captain America's partner. Star Captain America Star can only use this power once this game. Yikes. Tarnishing the Shield. Level up. 2. When Star Captain America Star KOs an enemy character, he gains 1 experience. When his partner gets KO'd on an enemy turn, Star Captain America Star gains 1 experience. Captain America levels up into a villain-affiliated John Walker level 2. So this is another one of those level up conditions that gives your opponent a tremendous amount of control. First of all, your opponent has to have a 1 or 2 cost character and pay the red to even have a chance at capturing this experience. And then your opponent has to KO it for you on their turn in order to give you that experience. What happens if they're able to KO the partner on your turn somehow? Like, what if you... Oh, geez, so you really can't attack with the partner. Like, you just straight up can't. Because if you attack and he gets clipped and KO'd, or he or she gets clipped and KO'd on your turn, unless you have another copy of that character in your hand. And does it tell me if partner even hangs around? It does not. So my guess is that you pay the red, you put the card into play, and then all copies of that card are his partner for the game. If partner up is limited to that exact copy of that card, and that card getting removed from the game wipes partner off of it, like if it gets dormant or something, or removed from play and returned, and it is no longer his partner, you just never are able to level up because you can't use partner up more than once a game. Oh, that wouldn't feel very good. Let me read this again. Hero affiliated supporting character costs 1 or 2 on your side as his partner. It doesn't say that this goes to all characters with that name. I feel like in the further rules explainer, like in the rulebook, they're going to tell us partner does a little more than just that one specific copy of that one specific card. If it is just that copy, his level up is bad. His level up is a real problem. But let's assume you get these 2 experience points. And let's move on to John Walker, villain affiliated 7/5/6. I do not like that defense. Super Soldier Serum, John Walker has... Okay, well, we already found out what the Super Soldier Serum does on the last spoiler we looked at, which is Combat Master, Regeneration, and Tough. 7/5/6 with those 3 keywords feels pretty strong. He also has AKA Star Captain America Star. This level up feels brutal to me. Unless I'm in a world where all characters with that name or all copies of that character are also partners. So if the first one gets killed in a way that doesn't give you XP, you can play another one out later in the game. If that's the case, I think this guy might be playable. If that's not the case, there's going to be some games that just feel terrible. Now, it's not going to be every game. It's probably not even going to be most games. But in the games where that does happen, it's going to feel so bad that you just don't want to mess with this main character anymore. The answer for me is probably yes. So, need to get some rulings on exactly how partner works. But overall, that seems like a real dicey level up for old Star Captain America Star. Next, we have a 2-cost Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. She is a villain-affiliated 0-cost 1. That is all bad. 2 cost for a 0/6. Brutal. You're very, very valuable. When you recruit a character, it appears with 2+1 counters. if you can get her to stick, that can get out of hand fast. We've seen essentially this exact power is what the 4-drop Praetor has on him, but it only hits evil characters, and that card has seen play. That card also has 2 health and some stats that can actually get some work done. So this is significantly worse than Praetor in some important ways, but also half the cost, and it hits every character. This is going to see play. It might not see a lot of play. It might not be across all decks, but this is absolutely going to see play. If it's like turn 6 and you're going to recruit a handful of 1-drop, you could recruit her and then a couple of 1-drops and a 2-drop or whatever, and end up with all your characters essentially being the attack value of like almost a bump up. You combine that with that 6 cost Bucky that we looked at a few minutes ago, and that could get real out of hand. This is not the most flexible card, and she can't do anything to protect herself. So this is not going to be something you throw into any deck, but for the kind of decks that are going to play to this strength, the kind of decks that are going to flood the board with underdrops, this is a powerful tool. Not great card art. Next up, when the slideshow loads, we have Carly Morgenthau. Morgenthau, am I saying that right? 4 cost, villain affiliated, 4/4/2. She's Super Soldier Serum, so Combat Master, Regeneration, and Tough. I see that we are going to be using those 3 keywords a lot in this expansion. Flag Smasher, supporting characters on your side with cost 3 or less have +3/+3. Oh, and it's not limited to her team affiliation. Oh my gosh. That's really good. Oh man, and you don't even have to have the board set up for her. You can play her on 4 and then use turn 5 to spam out some cards that are all going to be +3/+3. And even if she takes a wound on the turn 4 turn, she is still around with that 2 health. This card is very good. Wow. Okay, so that is, I guess, it for those. Let me see down here at the bottom of the article. Um, Looks like the next spoiler article is going to be the last early look, but it does not say when the expansion is going to come out. So again, depending upon how Captain America works, he might be really interesting or he might be impossible to level up. So I kind of have to reserve judgment on that card. The Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, I think, is great. Not super flexible. It's going to be kind of narrow where it goes, but this card's absolutely going to see play. And the Carly Morgenthau is, I think, an absolute banger of a 4-drop. So again, this is the second spoiler article in a row that we've gone through where all the cards look pretty darn good. Can't wait to see this expansion. Go win some games.